What up, everybody? Scuffy here, and we're doing a decklist video for Caipha Morarg. Caipha Morarg? We call him Caipha Morarg. However you want to pronounce his first name here. This is the Death Guard Equerry 2 Mortarion. This is the 5th warlord added for the Death Guard in the Galaxy in Flames expansion, and it's been a while. He's been out for a bit, and I haven't got a chance to actually do the video for him, but I've been playing him on and off for a while. I enjoyed him actually quite a bit, trying to work out his best, the way I like to play him best. Not entirely at all like how I play Caipha Morarg or Mortarion. I play him a little bit differently, but I enjoy him quite a bit. I'm not running the mission with him. I feel like the Death Guard mission is one of the I won't say the worst, but it's in the tier 3. I rank them in terms of 3 tiers. There's a 4th tier reserved exactly for a World Leaders mission, but I'm not going to go into that. So we're going to talk about Caipha Morarg. He's got the ability to just have 2 energy, puts in a Meldon squad, which means you consistently have troops. You've got frontline protection. The Meldon squads are not fantastic as a 1-4, but they are a 1-4 frontline that the Death Guard can build on from there with the various tactics and strategy that they have to enhance their troops or just benefit from really grinding your opponent down with a different kind of attrition warfare. So we'll go ahead and do here is do a replay, break into the decks, kind of talk about the card selections that I've got, and then some just some general fun stuff I've had with them. So one thing that I've enjoyed with the Death Guard as a whole, toss that, we want the asteroid belts, is they're a long game for them. I like my games to go long, not too long. I want to clarify that, not like 30 minutes, 20 minutes long, not tight long. I do like them to have a late game. They really do have strong late game options in terms of power troops, strong troops, resilience with healing. Depending on how you're going about clearing the board, they've got a lot of different options with poison, as well as hard removal, board-wide damage with endurance. So they've got a lot of stuff to kind of reward you for getting to the late game. The trick is getting to the late game. Now, Morarg helps that a little bit by protecting himself with some frontline. That works pretty good for a lot of decks where you've got the warlord that wants to attack, troops that want to attack. There's just one extra barrier that they have to overcome, or you've got a card like First Wave that basically puts 3 barriers that they have to overcome. Or you've got a play like this where it's just like, okay, we're at the 5 energy curve, but now I've got a barrier. I've got a troop that you don't want to stick around, and you've got to spend resources on that, which means that you're ignoring these troops here that stick around, and then I can play even more things to enhance those troops, which is kind of why I've got Favorite of Nurgle in. When I go through the whole deck list here, I'll kind of explain the thought process on that, but there's some alternatives. You don't have to pick Favorite of Nurgle, but obviously when you do, you turn that little 1-4 into a monster, or better yet, if you're lucky enough to get like a Sergeant Targoth, or you throw like a Plague Marine or something. This is a free troop. I made this with my ability. I put 1 card on the table, and now he's got to spend 3 resources basically to clear it. Doesn't really cost me anything except for the 1 card, and the damage has been done. I'm up by 8. As a Death Guard, I have some pretty good options. Feel pretty confident with the options I've got. And then I'm going to go ahead and play the Kurtarg bikes, just because at this point I'm expecting the Shadow Killers. So if he manages to Shadow Kill, he's going to get punished either via troop or on his warlord. Warlord would be ideal. He doesn't go with Shadow Killer. He does have a flanking cleave, which is not bad. But all those bodies was just 2 cards. I played First Wave and I played that. I didn't play anything else. And we've got fast units. You'd be surprised Death Guard can actually be fast when they want to be. You've got new damage dealing effects with Sergeant Targoth, which makes him a power card to boot. So yeah, I mean, we're up on it by 7. We've been up and ahead this whole game, and while the Raven Guard have got tricks, so did the Death Guard. The Death Guard have got their options. I don't know. Like, when I'm playing a Death Guard game, every warlord plays differently. I can play Typhon. I really have fun time playing Typhon, but I can only play like 3 or 4 Typhon games in a row before I want to break. He is super healy, heals the whole board, just like absorbs it. I've had games where he's down to 1 health and end the game at 35 against, like, you know, Defenders of Caliban or something like that. Like, just crazy. You wouldn't think that he could make it through, but he does. And then you've got Morarg, who doesn't really have the same level of healing that Typhon does, but he has got a way to generate troops and protect troops because he's generating frontline, which really allows for him to make a different kind of board. You've got Mortarion, who can do the same thing, or he can just go with a solo board play, and then go with like a Death Shroud as your end game. That's a whole different level. And then you've got Gera, who really doesn't do any of those things. He does his own game altogether. He is literally a Legion 1. He's just attacking or healing, however you want to go about it. And Durak Rask is pretty flexible. I would say Durak Rask is like the mid-range, but we're not going into a full Death Guard breakdown here. We're talking about Sciatha Morarg. So here's the deck list that I've got and I've been using for a while. I think there's probably some cards here that could change a little bit, especially with the revisions to Endurance. And I'll probably go into that a little bit after a couple more games just to kind of show you how this deck currently functions and operates. So you definitely have got some legendaries in here, right? We've got Mortarion's Resolve. It's a good card. We've got Duke Mortimer, we've got Captain Holgerg, Jubak, Crucial Choice, Ujioj. That's a lot of legendaries. Those aren't all required. But when it comes to the troops, particularly Jubak or the Duke Mortimer, maybe Kaiserland to an extent, Captain Ujioj, I mean, those are helpful. They benefit from Sciatha's ability to make front lines to protect them. Now, higher curve here, basically at the 5 energy mark, we've got a lot of cards. I mean, basically 13, we've got 19 of our 30 cards are 5 energy plus, which is why I have 2 asteroid belts as opposed to 1. But these are all super useful cards. You've got Duke, you've got the Captain, which is just a nice buff as well as giving poison units. I like playing them late game. For 9 energy, if I want to do 9 energy, I could do it at 7, but I can play 2 bikes, drop him, and now I've got 3-4 poisonous bikes, so I'm hitting for 6 that are fast. That could be an end game potential. That's a lot of combo troops, but the Death Guard can get there. They can get to that end game. That's a possibility. They don't have to worry about burning out. So if I'm not going to worry about burning out, then let me take advantage of that. Let me play cards like Purity of Will. Let me play cards like Helios Mortar Carrier and Doombringer. Let me play cards like Sergeant Torgrath, which is a very powerful card. Ideally, my opponent has wasted some of the resources on either of these buff troops or just having the board that I've got. I can get there, and then I can still benefit from that. Now, I do think some cards here you could change. This is not by any means a stagnant deck or has to be this way, but I do think you want to keep that approach in mind. The Death Guard can get to those late game scenarios, so you should take advantage of it. You should have Crucial Choice in there because you can benefit from it most likely, as opposed to some games that play fast where you don't have any time to play Crucial Choice, let alone play the card that you get with Crucial Choice. That's not a huge worry for Sciatha because he's making frontline and he's Death Guard. He's got 2 things in his favor when it comes to that. You've got flanking to help answer the board with poison. In addition, you've got fast to help. You've got healing with Ujioj. You've got the standard endurance board wiping. You've got a lot of tools there to help you get to the end game. You can change the end game however you want. There's a lot of card options. So we'll go into that. Before we do, what about Titans? Oh, he says, what about Titans? What about Titans? This now to be fair, I believe this replay was fresh off of the balance patch. The most recent as of June 28th balance patch. So to be fair, the Titans aren't doing exactly what they did. The Traitor Titans aren't doing exactly what they did on day one. We've got a double fist Dolores. We've got loaded weapons. We've got a Titan. You know, that's going to be a pain in the rear. Now, that was, by the way, that was a terrible crucial choice. I won't say that's the worst crucial choice I've ever had, but that was a pretty bad crucial choice. However, I went with Port Maw in this instance because I figured if this is a game that goes long, as the Death Guard can, as Titans can, Port Maw actually might give me some options. Port Maw could give me a couple Manifest Destiny to help me get the game out further. They could give me some tactics that are dealing damage, whether it's Mortar Strike or Horrible Bombardment, whatever the case may be. Maybe they're just going to give me some ricochets to break shields. I figured, you know what, I'll pocket it for now. This could come in and be beneficial later. We'll find out. But right now, what I'm working on is just stunning a couple weapons and then going face. And I'm going to go face. And I'm going to take some damage here, sure, but I'm going to go face. Because I don't care, because I'm the Death. Maybe I'm the Death Guard. I can do it. I can handle it. I'm willing to take it. I think this play here is kind of where I won't say he made a mistake. He did what he did to clear the board. That did feel like a bit of a waste. He probably could have benefited it if I didn't have the Duke out, or if I put the Duke out next turn. Maybe he's kicking himself for that, because now neither of these can attack this turn. They've got a ready. So otherwise he could have cleared that easy enough. Instead he's going to use his ability, I think, to stun the Duke, which is fine. I think that's a great ability for Dolores, because it's always got an option. It's got an option, it's got a way to answer it. We're going to go in, we're going to give ourselves a body. He's got nothing primed here. We're going to attack, we're going to heal, we're going to make some targets. He's got to deal with Duke, he's got to deal with the Purity. And I'm going to keep this Purity of Will in my hand for a bit, while he figures out what he's going to do. And I'll happily take 8 to face, if that's what his plan is. I'll heal too. You know, you might think, oh, the Death Guard versus Titans, it's not going to be a good game. It's a tough game. He hasn't played any troops, but he's also only got 4 cards in hand. So I put my troops in a certain way. Once I've got Morarg on the board, you want to keep that in mind. You want to have 2 next to him, not necessarily adjacent to your rules, so that way you can get some extra strength in there and start to benefit that way. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so then he's gonna stun the Morarg. He's not gonna stun the Duke. The Duke has got all he needs. He can load up all his weapons. I don't know what he's got from hand. It doesn't matter, because what I'm gonna do is just slam face at this point. I'm not concerned about these. These weapons here, deal 1 damage to a random enemy 3 times, are completely arbitrary to me with the health I've got as well as my ability to heal. So what I'm looking to do is do as much damage as possible, punish him as much as possible, put targets that he has to spend energy and tactics on my troops, while I can keep slamming face. That's all. It doesn't matter at this point. He can give himself shield as much time as he wants. The attrition game is in favor of the Death Guard here. And as you saw, there's multiple turns I took 8 to the face. He could have spent some energy and cleared some troops like he's doing now. It's a little bit too late. But he certainly could have done that. I think he was hoping his shots would hit this and he wouldn't have to go into it with his fist. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. And he doesn't know I've got the Purity of Will, the pocket Purity of Will. But it also doesn't matter, because I've got all the damage I need here to be. So, all that said, how about Titans? Titans can be beat. Now, is this a certified Titan killer? I've got 3 Titan wins under my belt. Not 5 in a row, so I can't say it's certified Titan killer. But so far, so good. You do have to worry about the Gatling guns, the board clear Titan stuff, the board wide 2 damage, 4 damage, where they can clear the board. On the plus side, the Death Guard themselves have got first wave and various ways to fill up the board a little bit more, but you want to keep your eye out for that, especially if that's the weapon you're facing. You want to be a little bit more smarter in what you're stunning. But in that situation where he just had 2 fists, I'm just going to go face. I can take 8 and heal for 2 and stun everything else. I'm not concerned with his auxiliary weapons. Because actually I'm taking 8 every other turn. So when you're not playing Titans, and you're playing another board deck, a deck that's also going, whether it's going big troops or void wide, Ultramarines are a good example of that. Maybe it's Defender of Caliban. How do you go about doing that? Again, it's going to fall into playing the long game, getting to that long game and letting your power stuff that becomes power stuff do the work for you. Draw it out. I know he's going to get courage here. I don't really want to throw this 2 away, so I'm just going to ping him for what I can. If he gets courage, he gets courage. Not a big deal. He's playing the mission, so there's also kind of a clock on this game. But at the same time, you know, I also don't want to kill his troops on his turn if I can help it, to avoid him getting reckoning. I'd rather avoid that if possible. I'm going to keep that bikes in my hand because I really want to use that if I can buff it or use it to help clear something, maybe a front line. I'm not just going to throw it away. You know, there's a lot of healing in the deck. Like if I've got a Purity of Will on the board, I can throw down Sorak bikes after it, hit for 2, and then it's still a 2/3. So again, we're going in here. If he throws a Midas Cruiser on my little Meldon, alright, all I did was lose a favorite of Nurgle. That's not a problem. I've got entire troops that he really probably would have rather saved that Midas. Although I know he's probably got a second Midas, so I'm kind of like cautious in terms of when I play those troops. But he's wasted a valuable resource on a 1/4 because the Death Guard definitely have got some. I'm just going to play this just to get it out there, just to kind of be, because once he hits that 6 range, I don't want to have to play full energy to respond to like his Apothecary or anything like that. So he's going to stun it, not a big deal. I'm really not worried about that. As a matter of fact, like, you can buff the whole board if you want. I'm really not worried about that at all. I've got a lot of stuff here that I can keep it under courage or allow for the courage. And I'm just going to go, you know what, let's double down. You don't have the 8 energy, so you sure as heck aren't able to play his hard removal. So you don't. If you've got the Midas Cruiser, you can get rid of the 7/7. If you don't, too bad, so sad. You're going to eat 7 in the face, and it looks like that's what's going to happen. So let's rock and roll. Yeah, that's fine. There's the Apothecary. There's the Apothecary. So he had to spend a lot to clear the board to get the Apothecary down and feel safe about it. And I feel pretty good about that. So we'll clear his Apothecary. We'll hit him for 3. We've still got the 7/4. So even if he drops his whole troop, his whole energy just to drop the drawing a blank on that guy's name right now. Which he's not going to do. He's going to burn some tactics instead. Then I'm still going to have my wonderful 3 energy to do all the work I want to do. We're looking good. We're feeling good. Everything's fine. Everything's rosy. Right? Let's make some things stronger. Let's get poison on top of that. Let's poison that baby. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go in the face. Keep that protected. He's got 3/1. If he goes border wide with his 2 with the Terminators, I still have got 2 units that'll be alive and can heal thanks to Purity of Will. Again, these guys didn't cost me anything except using my ability. I love warlords that make troops. I love warlords that have battle honor and frontline. Give me a frontline warlord with a battle honor that makes a troop. I'll be a happy cookie. Like, let's do that. Can we do that? Once you get to the energy where you can play a whole board and attack, and you have a Purity of Will that's just heals up for the attacking of the warlord, like, that's just so cool. Like, alright, cool. Everything's healed at full, and now what do you do? Alright, cool. You can get rid of 2 units. That's it. And these all can heal up easy enough. I've got Doombringer if I want to drop Doombringer down. These can just sit back if I want to sit back. I can Endurance if I'm going. I'm not going to Endurance. I'm going to throw down Doombringer because, you know what? A protected Doombringer. It's making 2 damage. I'm healed up for 2. I'm 10 up on him. All he has to do is play one more Astartes. He's going to get his mission here. Great. Congratulations. You got your mission. It won't matter much. It's really not going to matter much. The power of the endurance of the Death Guard. But yeah, I really enjoy the Death Guard when I'm in the mood to play Death Guard. And Sciatha kind of feels that he's not as grindy as Typhon. He's not as slow and ponderous as Mortarion. He is a troop-centric / troop-focused, troop-supportive warlord. He may not buff directly, but by the fact that he's making these 1/4 boys, I feel much more comfortable playing cards like Purity Will, playing a Mortar Carrier, Doombringer, playing, even Temperature Squad, which is a great turn 1 play, although I typically like to play them turn 2 or 3, especially if I've got a frontline that's survived at that point. But yeah, how's that board? How's that board holding up? It's not? Okay, great, fantastic. Almost a fully healed. Actually, yeah, thanks to Ujioj, fully healed. There we go. Pleasant. Just a feeling. Just a great feeling. There's his Mianus Cruiser. He finally drew it. Too little, too late. I don't know if I gave him Reckoning on that last turn with all those troop clears. I mean, it's possible, but I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, he did go there. He's like, I'll just do damage. And I'm going to end this game with a full health warlord, because you know what? I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. And gosh darn it, Mortarion likes me. So yeah, this was a good game. This is your typical troop on troop game, and you really just play the long game. You whittle down the resources off the front lines, like poison, and you start healing, and they have to divert resources that maybe they want to spend on your higher cost troops to get rid of your Purity Will, or they get rid of your higher cost troops and you pull your second Purity Will and something else. It's the captain, as it were, Captain Holgard or Captain Sergeant Chargath. So in terms of options that you can consider, like this is, as I said, this is a very legendary heavy deck. Not all these legendaries are required. You definitely don't need the mission. You don't need defensive maneuver. Stay away from those. Ujioj is a must. Holgarg is not. The Captain Holgarg is not a must. You'll note that I don't have Ignatius Golgar in there, nor do I have Death Shroud. Personally, I feel like the 7 and the 8, it's not good. I like the 5 energy, and I like 6 energy because at 8 energy, I can play that and use my ability. But this is requiring me to be able to do 9 energy. I don't want to do that. Even though he makes a Milden squad, it's just not something for me. I tried him out, and I didn't have enough success with him to appreciate or say, yeah, that's what I want to do. I also took out the Imperial Reaper, because I found that playing the Imperial Reaper in this deck, was okay, but that was my only play. And again, I really like to protect troops, not just to protect the warlord. I think the Imperial Reaper does much better job in Typhon. So, although with the changes to Ordnance, Doombringer, Helios Mortar Carrier, those are cards that you could consider possibly removing off the table. I don't know if you would want to play a Golzalt squad. Golzalt. Don't. No, keep endurance, or keep purity will. That's 6 health. That can still survive most endurance effects. But if you're just looking for cheap guys, these guys here are actually pretty good. The Mortarg tactical squad, they gain a mark of chaos, so they're going to be more than a 2/5. Whatever they are, they're going to be more than a 2/5. It's significantly good health. You could do a Fortal squad with Unstoppable and Poisonous, but they don't have anything extra. So I like the Mortarg squad. I don't use Gift of Fortitude. I don't think that that's effective. You could, in place of Favor of Nurgle, and here's why I took Favor of Nurgle as opposed to other buffs. I can make one troop. I can easily make one troop on the board, whether I am making a Meldon squad or I've got a surviving bike. I've got a captain. I've got Jubok. Whatever I've got here, like a I've got Captain Holgarg on the table. Maybe I've got a Timitor squad. I can make a troop easy enough. That's a 5 energy. It's a very high cost, but you're getting more than a +2/+4. You're getting +2/+4 as well as an additional plus whatever and terror, unstoppable, or poisons, right? So you're going to get one of those things for 5 energy. That's a lot, but it's a big upgrade. You're basically getting 2/4 on top of whatever else that you're playing with. That's pretty good because you can have one troop. I don't play Blessing of Nurgle as much because this is for all your Death Guard troops, which is a better buff. Poisonous and +2 to your Death Guard troops. Great. But I can't always guarantee that I'm going to have more than one Death Guard troop on the table. Whereas Favor of Nurgle, this can go to any troop. It doesn't matter if it's a vehicle or if it's a Death Guard troop or not. I can give that to anything. Blessing of Nurgle is just going to be to Death Guard. And if I only have one Meldon squad, this is a waste. If I've got Jubok and a Meldon squad, this is a waste. If I've got Doombringer, this is a waste. But if I've got any of those ones, Duke Morticher, Doombringer, Helios Mortar Square, this is useful. So that's why I have it in there. And I just have it as a one-of, just as kind of a little pocket surprise, but it's not necessary. But that's my thought process on why I included it. You could put in Halden Tal. I like that ability. It works better for me in Typhon. But really, as far as Death Guard troops go, because you're making Meldon squads and because I'm not playing heavy Death Guard and because Communition works on any troop if I happen to make it with the Timitor squads, I really focus more on other troops, higher value, 5+ troops that I can benefit from. Now, I do think Kazdrak is an option. If you want to go Kazdrak, you could definitely go there. Elite Bodyguard, not so great because you're going to have a bunch of frontline troops. This isn't as effective as you think. Cygnus Demagogue actually would be very good, very handy to help your board, give you some options in your hand. Your hand could become bloated though, so keep that in mind. Insurgent Leader might actually be better, but then you're playing more cultisty altogether. And then what was I going to do? The Remnant. The Remnant isn't a bad one. It's 7 energy. It's a little bit higher end, but in place of Doombringer, you could put the Remnant in there, or you in place of Helios Mortar Carrier. And if you've got a first wave, you got 2 or 3 of your Meldon squads out there. This guy giving all marks of chaos to them every turn. That's not a bad way to go about it. It's not great, but it's an option. You could also throw in not Alpha Theta. I like the Dark Tech Adept, because he's giving me something for sure at the end of my turn. He's 3. I can play him a little bit earlier, a little bit faster. If I've got a Meldon squad that survived turn 1, I can follow it up with a Dark Tech Adept and get a Chaos Mechadrive that I can play, again, on any troop, any non-vehicle troop for the Chaos Mechadrive that I make. So if I'm taking out Doombringer, I'm taking out the Helios Mortar Carrier because I'm worried about endurance. Then there are a couple other higher cost troops that maybe I might want to consider, in which case maybe I would be a little bit more comfortable with another Ornithop's Barge in the deck, perhaps the Ogryn's Charge just because he's a starter guy, maybe Shipmaster Kyra. I wouldn't go heavy on it. I think just having 3 or 4 strong Coriel Zeth wouldn't be a bad option. As a high cost, or if you don't want to have a Helios Mortar Carrier or Doombringer in your deck, and you happen to have Forge Master, put Forge Master in your deck, because that is going to be able to give you the chance to possibly make Doombringer, but it's also going to be a very powerful 6/6 unit with shield, and that you can protect relatively well. On the turn that you play it following, it's 7 energy, right? You played at 6, that's 7 energy. You can use your ability to make a Meldon squad. You can use Forge Master to make a Mechanicum troop. Depending on what you get, you could get some good stuff. You might get some bad stuff, but you can get something that you're not playing from your hand. So then your opponent invests resources to get rid of those cards, and then you play stuff from your hand. It's very Death Guardian. It's very Death Guardian. Very, very good, very, very good. So that is my Sciatha Morarg. again, it's not something you have to follow to the letter, but that's the strategy that I tried to use when I was playing. I had a lot of fun with it. It has evolved. I've tried some, like, again, I tried the mission, got rid of the mission, not even going to worry about it. It's a tier 3 mission. It's not worth playing. And I strayed away from the Death Guard cards and really moved into neutrals that I could protect, and I've had a lot of fun with it. I think the new additions, particularly Sergeant Targoth, which is just a great dealing damage and gaining a body. If you can kill the troop and then magically gain a 7/7 poisonous troop, that's great. Having a 3/4 flanker is great. Those are just solid cards. And then Temeter Squad, if the Temeter Squad baits removal from your opponent, great, because he's just a 2 energy guy that's giving you some potential buffs. And if he isn't, then he's a 2 energy guy that's giving you potential buffs that you can use on all sorts of things. So keep that in mind. I hope this inspired you. If it has, let me know. If you like the deck, or if you want to play Sciatha, or you've been playing Sciatha and you found other cards that you enjoy using with him, let me know as well. Feel free to hit me up in the comments. And until next time, keep playing Legions.